to say a few words. Well, first of all, I'm sure all of us are going to miss Lakhdar Brahimi. He has worked so hard to try to accomplish a breakthrough in a political settlement in Syria. Unfortunately, it hasn't happened so far, but we believe that the show must go on and that every effort must continue to be exerted in order to try to set the process of finding a political solution to the Syrian crisis in motion. And we do believe that there are some positive signs. Among them is the recent arrangement in Homs, a local peace arrangement. In fact, Mr. Brahimi spoke at length about it. One element of that arrangement is that various parties, the government, various opposition figures, international agencies, were working very hard for the same purpose of accomplishing that agreement. So we believe that that trend must continue. Of course, one would hope that it would not take the suffering and which the people in Old Town Homs have been experiencing for such a long time to do that. Anyway, in order to try to develop a positive momentum even under current difficult circumstances, the Russian delegation has introduced today a draft resolution of the Security Council. Mostly it is on the humanitarian aspect of the situation, taking the experience of Homs as a point of departure, but also our hope is that it is going to help move ahead the political process in Syria. And we do believe that the third round of Geneva II conference must be convened as quickly as possible.
Can I ask you about that?
Please.
Yes, Mr. Ambassador, we heard just before Mr. Brahimi saying that it's up to the Secretary General how he's going to be replaced. What is the preference? Do you have any to share with us from Moscow, from your government?
We'll see what candidates there are going to be, and if the Secretary General asks our opinion, which I expect he will, then we'll express our opinion. Not at this point.
Ambassador, you just mentioned the potential or possibility of Geneva III, and there's, as you know, a very clear point of view that by holding the elections, the presidential elections, and those who are supporting or not asking for a postponement for the elections, including Russia, have helped in torpedoing the process of Geneva anyway. Why didn't you ask the Syrians to postpone elections, given that Mr. Brahimi thought that they are really torpedoing the Geneva peace process?
First of all, let's set our terminology straight. I think we are talking about the third round of Geneva II, not convening some new process which would be Geneva III. And we do believe that that third round needs to be convened as quickly as possible. As far as we know, the Syrian government is prepared for that. And as far as we know, the opposition has not said no. So it's basically for the Secretary General at this point to decide when that round needs to be convened. We know that some countries have their doubts about the wisdom of convening the third round. We don't share those doubts. We believe that getting the parties into the habit of talking in itself has a serious value in this kind of a process. But anyway, now it is for the Secretary General and I suppose for Mr. Brahimi's successor to make that decision. Now, I didn't hear Mr. Brahimi say the word torpedo today or in his previous remarks I've heard. And I think today he used a very interesting expression. He said, well, June 3rd election, then on June 4th, the situation will be exactly, from his perspective, the way it was on June 2nd. So if this is the case, why build up all this anxiety about those elections? Incidentally, there is nothing which would prohibit or put in doubt such elections in the Geneva Communique. Some people suggest that it's contrary to the spirit of the Geneva Communique. This is their right to make that interpretation, but certainly the Geneva Communique does not bar any presidential elections in Syria. It is an extremely complicated situation. There is more than one factor which may be regarded as complicating, but the thing is that the effort must continue. The effort must continue, and the international factors must try to contribute to some progress. Incidentally, if this report, which has been alluded to in your previous discussion with Mr. Brahimi, that Saudi Arabia is now prepared to talk to Iran, if this report is true, then it's very, very encouraging, because Saudi Arabia has been one missing link in this effort to establish meaningful political dialogue around the Syrian crisis. Matthew.
On Syria, there's another widely publicized draft resolution about referral to the International Criminal Court, and I wonder what Russia's thinking is on that. And I wanted to ask you one thing on Ukraine very quickly. There's a video out of a UN-painted white helicopter apparently being used by the authorities of Kyiv. Have you seen it, and what do you think the UN should do about it?
The first question you...
The first question has to do with the ICC referral.
ICC referral. You know, I did mention that in consultation. We believe, and this is the logic behind the draft resolution we've introduced, that we need to build a positive momentum. I know people complain so much about lack of unity in the Security Council, and there are different views in the Security Council about the situation in Syria. So let's not exacerbate that by doing things which definitely will have the effect of exacerbating those differences. And let's not, you know, step to the side. Let's move forward. And of course, there is an important clause about you know, the need for, I mean, no impunity clause in the Geneva Communique, which we believe is extremely important. So we don't think at this stage, when we need to focus all our efforts to move things forward. And Mr. Brahimi, you will see his remarks, he does believe that even under these grim circumstances, there are ways to move things forward. So we need to focus all our efforts in this direction rather than try to move to a different direction.
Are you saying that you will vote against the ICC referral resolution? And secondly, do you have any reaction to the reports today that the Syrian government used chlorine-filled bombs, at least on several occasions?
We heard those reports. The investigation is underway. So we'll see what will be the result of that investigation. So, but you know, when people you know are too quick to condemn the Syrian government of everything, then we never do that. We need to have these investigators doing their thing and then hear back from them. We don't think it's a good idea. Thank you very much.